account because Google's fast today. We've gone live. It's Simon, Raphael, Michael, and Ed. Hey, Ed. Ed in the house. Awesome. We're going to try and get this AsyncVoter project kicked off. Michael was just asking how I'm starting the Hangouts here. So the new, I was at AsyncVoter, where we have our lovely start Hangout button, which no longer works, and comes to this Hangouts on Air YouTube Live. This will take you to my live events. You can go to like basically the new live event, and so whenever I've needed kind of an unlisted and a non-public event, I've done that. And I guess actually it's entirely possible that I think I have my thing set to default so these are unlisted. So it may be that we are here in an unlisted event that I will subsequently want to take public for. So this now, I can edit this. Yeah, it's unlisted, so I can actually make that public in. Yeah, there you go. Just, you know, not that. I mean, but because we believe in transparency, we believe in openness, we believe in the bigger, greater good. Here is what we believe in. But so yeah, I have at least got a fix in earlier on for website 1, so that the manual, we can manually update them, and we'll see what happens. But we're here to talk about AsyncVoter. Now, Junior was available at the weekend. He couldn't find anybody. He started an AsyncVoter Hangout rather than a Scrum. We talked about that. He's not here now, and is maybe saying he's been around in about an hour or so. I guess the sort of, we have the general issue that projects trying to get together for pairing and getting things done is always potentially suffers from people not being able to get together, and then things don't get started and people are not sure. And anyway, I guess let's just start here with, is everybody comfortable with what we're trying to achieve with the AsyncVoter project? A nod there from Raphael, Michael, possibly. Yeah. And we've got, you know, async votes going on now in several channels, and I think that they're a nice lightweight way of pulling people in. I guess the key thing that I see is the next step is we need to kind of match up. We voted on a number of features. Let's go and look at the where we are. We've got a waffle for let me minimize or put this down the bottom so I can see the chat in case anybody's saying chat stuff. Let's come in here. We have a waffle for AsyncVoter, and we have a number of estimated stories. Here they come. And yeah, Joao's been, although I'm aware that I may be completely mispronouncing his name, as Pat seems to call him Huao, or Hugh even, or something, but I'm so totally not Spanish, it's ridiculous. But so we've got 2 pull requests there. We've got an update receive vote feature. Yes, that's from Alex, who's also interested in getting involved. Bing bong, bing bong. Okay, that's the waffle wants to pop things in. Yeah, I mean the main thing we've got in the master branch is we've got a set of features that I think I created 1 or 2, and then Joao created a couple more. So the sensible way, like if we just have a little look at those, we've got like start vote. So as a developer, so that I can start working on a story, bug for the chore, I would like to initiate an asynchronous vote to get an estimate of how difficult it would be. And it seems to me like that's the place to start, in that the very, 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 very minimal version of all of this is just being able to say, right, we want to have a vote on this thing. Even if none of the other functionality is there, that's kind of like a really useful initial point. And I will just say as well, for the record, I think the critical thing about success in project is just being super simple. I mean, I just spent 3 hours today hunting down quite a complex bug in website 1, which is a wonderful project that we have, but it didn't, you know, there was constantly features added on top of features added on top of features. So anyway, that's just my opinion. You know, we're all free programs. We're free to do what we want to do and make things complex we need to. I strongly urge building the simplest possible thing, getting little skeletons of things out, and so on. So
But
Go on, Michael.
there's a saying from the Unix days that every program becomes an email program.
That's true. That's true. I mean, and we see that things being added on top of each
The
other.
idea that if a program
Yeah,
is successful, then people will inevitably want.
they'll want it to do everything, and they'll want it to do all these things. Yes, yes. Well, but I think that that's a. I'd much rather be in a situation with have a very successful program that people wanted more stuff on than to have a program that didn't seem to be very successful but did 1,500 different things, some of which didn't seem to have any function whatsoever.
Right.
So I think it's that may be the inevitable place that every project reaches, but I think we shouldn't be in a rush to get there, and I think we will probably save ourselves time if we, rather than rushing to get lots of features out, we get a very, very small one or two or subset of features out. We get that solid, and then we build on top of that. It's sort of what I'm doing with the the premium functionality in Website 1, which well, I mean, but there's absolutely the argument that I'm too close to the metal. I'm too simple. I'm not adding enough features. And anyway, still, given a project and given a set of features that we need for this to operate, it makes sense to start somewhere and start on one thing. And so I'd certainly recommend that this is the place to start. You can argue about how many features we would need in order for it to be of use, but I think that's there's always more stuff we can add later on. I mean, we're learning as a result of sort of doing these async votes manually within Slack. We're learning all sorts of things about it. I think we're getting great involvement. Like Raul was just doing things. He's opened a couple of. I think we're seeing a lot more activity in the Slack channels. Anyway. But the other thing is that we've written these out as Cucumber stories. We can use Cucumber in Node. We sort of decided to go with the Node structure, and Mr. João Pereira has made this kind of structure, which I quite like, actually, that where he's divided the thing up via kind of domain objects, which I think is quite a nice. That's Uncle Bob recommends that. One can debate backwards and forwards. I think Alex was saying, maybe we should be, looking to an MVC architecture like sales or what have you. But so he's got set up here with roots, controller, and models for these things. And so we end up with a model there where you've got a story can have a name and a size and so on. And so one can imagine using that as a sort of base to support a feature where you could, through some endpoint, say, right, I want to have this is a story that we want to have a vote on. Anyway, as usual, I'm can talk indefinitely. Is that making sense? Do you want to say other things? I guess everybody is in approximate, lack or absence or presence of agreement with what I'm suggesting. What I would sort of think to do now, in the absence of someone else saying, right, I will do it, is I would just download this, the Spike. I mean, I think I've got the Spike locally, the latest version of it, and just try and get some aspect of the feature of it working. So we've got AsyncVoter. Let me go and find. Have I got AsyncVoter in the? I have here. Yes. So I've got the Spike. Let's get pull orange Spike. I can't spell. I have the completion. A bit bigger. Okay, so I've got the Spike. I mean, there are other things here that we like. It seems that I can run. We've got these tests, which run and pass. That's that should go away. Window. AsyncVoter. There it is. Yeah. Here we are. So, I mean, there's some odd things in here, and the spec thing here doesn't seem to run. I haven't been able to get that to work. We've got our story there. We've actually got a number of tests. See, it's interesting there. That mocker thing there is only
just put arbitrary. I don't think you can just put arbitrary things into the scripts folder or into the scripts hash.
No, indeed. Yeah, this is, and this is. I mean, João created this so I wonder if that would then allow me to run npm test like this. It does, so that's an improvement. And that will also allow our CI to work. Go on.
If you look on AgileBot,
Yeah.
about how to run other scripts. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, so AgileBot is our other project, and
well, maybe
yeah.
I think there's a different way to run it, though. Let me think. If I put it here, npm run dash script. So if you put something in there that's not the standard, like thing, like spec is not how npm's programmed. It's just test.
Right.
If you put spec in there, you have to put npm run dash script and then the name of your arbitrary script.
Okay.
A little weird, but yeah.
Okay. Sure. Well, those things can be tweaked with. I mean, the interesting thing there about this is it's running this test here, which is talking about an example app listening on port 3000, and we can get kind of a list of stories that doesn't, and it's running mocker specs against test spec.js. I guess I should look at the contents of these things. Okay, he's set it up with describes. Okay, right, and he's just got one test of a story root spec at the moment. Fair enough.
Right, so he's requiring the server file, and then he's closing it afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how is he set up the server file? If you go into the bin.
The bin.
Probably set up to just.
You go Express. Yeah. And so, I mean, other people were trying to run npm start, and so on. But so, should we be able to have? Only the comma, and then it would just be. You need to run node in server.js or something like
that. You can try
node. Yeah. Okay. I've got the other things running on 3000, which I will just shut down. Okay, and I don't know if I've got my MongoDB running, but for this 3000, thinking about it. There we go. It's listening. Oh, that's interesting. I'll just shut that down. Oh, that's still running. Website 1. Okay. Shut you down. Oh, no, over here. Try that again. So I think, and there's only certain endpoints we can get, which is probably like the stories. The one that is actually tested is getting stories. So there we go. Yeah, so it's actually got some stories in there. With a story with a name and a size. Yeah. So that's there's a spike there. I don't know if now npm start would work there. And it seems like it does. That's interesting there that works. npm start. Maybe it's like, as you're saying, Michael, the set of things that are kind of allowed here, like maybe we can't have, if we call that spec, it doesn't like it? No. And you were saying, what were you saying was the solution there? Was npm minus?
npm run something. I can't remember. Let me look. npm
it was. Yes, it is. npm run spec there.
Yeah.
Seems to work fine. I mean, the interesting thing is there that I don't see a need there for the separate spec and test things. I guess unless there isn't going to be different sort of tests. I mean, we could be driving in to say, right, we need Cucumber tests, but it seems. Raul's just asking how we start events now. I'll just tell him where he needs to go, which is now to the my. We can go here. Okay. He's deployed a load of things to production.
Right, testing, right?
Okay. I need to do that migration. Anyway, I've told him that. I'll do that. Let's focus on you guys. Yeah. So rather than trying to hook up Cucumber, I mean, we could basically say there's this key thing here of starting a vote. I would like to initiate an asynchronous vote to get. So there's sort of. We talk about what this. I mean, this has been voted on as in the start vote feature, and we voted on that as 2. We didn't copy and paste the discussion over, which is one of the actually, a feature from AsyncVoter is that actually it would be nice if there is discussion in the Slack channel.
So
it would be nice to like
ultimately we ultimately want this to be integrated with Slack, right?
We do ultimately want this to be integrated with Slack.
So
go on.
Is there a thought of how that's going to work?
Well, there are various Slack libraries that like AgileBot uses one.
Right.
I'm sort of thinking in this situation. I mean, I'm usually an outside-in person where I say, let's build something that does a full end-to-end thing. But we have talked to Slack before and so on. It actually seems to me in this case, and inside out makes more sense. Go on.
Have we ever had it where I'm just asking, do we know what the mechanism would be for me to go into website 1's channel and say at AsyncBot start vote?
Well, it would be the same.
How that would end up hitting the endpoint on this app?
Well, I mean, the same way that the Agile. Oh, how it would end up on the app? Well, you mean like? I guess it comes back to a situation where.
Well, right now we have it. We know how to make our bot, AgileBot, talk to Slack, right?
Yes.
But I don't think anything that we've in the AgileBot actually gets input from Slack. Like, I don't think you can talk directly to AgileBot through Slack.
I think you can actually. I think the Hubot thing supports that, and I know that there are other ways to do it as well. I mean, there's certainly an argument for, proof of concept of that in both directions. But I think that the interesting thing about this async vote is that async vote has the kind of the properties of like an engine. There is like a little game with rules, a bit like rock paper scissors, where I think it's in principle, even if we never connected up to Slack, it could be some. I think it sort of makes sense to get the engine working with the rules, rather than worrying too much about connecting it to Slack. But hey, I get things wrong all the time. That's sort of, given the number of people involved, a lot of people are showing interest in the project. Some people can focus on that aspect of it, and others focus on the other aspect of it. But I think that what we do need to do is we need to make sure that we've got a way to move forward where we can actually build some logic in Node, and that endpoints can be hit, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, I think
we'll have an endpoint that you post to that creates a new vote, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we have a look, go on.
And it will be related. Well, I guess in the first instance, it doesn't have to actually be related to a project, right?
No. I mean, I think this is exactly the kind of simplification that we can say is in the first instance, let's not worry about projects. We'll just make one that works for the AsyncVoter channel and test it in the AsyncVoter channel, and basically everything will be related to AsyncVoter. And once that's working, then we'll say, right, now let's expand it to have more projects. So I imagine from within a project, let me make this bigger so you can see it. From within a project channel, starting votes like this, so we would go, we would explicitly say to the bot, you'd say like to async bot, start vote on, and you've got like HTTP whatever, it could be the waffle or the GitHub ticket or whatever. Let's say that's called ticket ID. And so, I mean, there. So like that. And then bot would respond with vote instructions in channel. So I'll put these into things like that. And then like so, where it says vote on this, and it adds the title, which the request is, please DM, that 1 simple, 2 medium, 3 hard, to me at AsyncBot or whatever. And then please discuss here in channel or in tickets. Good. And then, so then individuals PM bot and bot updates channel with names of voters, revealing the votes when we reach a threshold. The votes values reach a threshold of, say, 3 votes.
You might want to have some vote identifier there. Otherwise, you could be in multiple channels with multiple votes. How does AsyncBot distinguish which issue that you're voting on?
Indeed. Well, I think you're absolutely right. But I would say in the first instance, we should probably create something where we assume that there's only ever 1 vote in progress.
Gotcha.
And there's only 1 channel, and get all of that working before we add the layer of complexity. I mean, we may have to ultimately ask. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. We may have to ultimately ask the users who are using it. What happened there? To what's the word? To ping the bot with this thing. But I think we probably we want to make the very, very first instance of it as simple and iron out all of the other unanticipated things, and then move on to that more complex aspect. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I would love to see, would love to have votes take on icon of person who started the vote. The thing I think the big important thing to realize for the whole async voting process is that automating it seems like a good idea. There's always the risk of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because the fundamental thing really that all this voting is about scaffolding discussion between humans so that they can actually get into a shared mindset on these tickets and stories and bugs and chores and so on, whatever, and do good work together. So it may be that we're having some successful async votes at the moment because real people are taking the initiative. It may be that once the bot starts doing it, people are like, oh, I'm not bloody bot, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? And so anyway, sorry, that's kind of maybe off topic. I mean, it's an excellent point there. I think it was Raphael was saying that. It's certainly something that we're going to run into trouble with if there are ultimately multiple async bot things. It may end up being easier to say that you go to a web interface and select the ticket that you want to vote on and ping it there rather than ping it through Slack. But it's there's lots and lots of options that we can do. It's the wrong number of spaces there. So we've got we've got also Alex has joined us. Hello, Alex. Good to see you.
Hello. I was quiet because I was slightly late for a meeting.
Hey, no problem. We started at a random time, so you
No
can't
worries.
really.
No worries.
So we're just discussing different bits and pieces. I'm trying to drive towards. I mean, we've got another half an hour before the scrum, and I need to have some tea. We're just trying to drive towards. I'm liking the structure that I'm seeing here. I was just going to try and drive towards actually working on one of the tickets so that we could sort of see what that was like. So if I take the start vote feature, I mean, I can just take this and I can assign that to myself. The procedure actually with Waffle, I can just drag that into the in progress column to indicate that I'm working on it. I can also create like a pull request that starts with the number 4. But
Let's take a minute and observe the 20,450 emails not read by Sam.
oh yeah, well, I have looked at all the subject lines, so you know it's there we go. There's I've been reading email for like nearly 25 years, so there's a bit of a backlog. So this is the start vote feature. We've got this set up at the moment. So I want to work on this. It's kind of in the spike. I'm tempted to sort of just do it in the spike because what I should really be doing here, I mean, here we've just made a few changes to the package JSON there to add a start command to put the test thing in the test area that might make our CI work. I guess what I will do here is I'll git commit -am. So update package .json. Not the most inspired git commit thing. And I guess what I might do is I might git checkout -b, and actually I'll give it the name. So 4, this is start vote feature, like so. And I'm going to git push origin 4, and I'm going to push that branch up to the main, what's it called, repo. And then what I'm probably even going to do is actually I'll just open a pull request to see if is that right? Yes. Oh, and what's? Well, I think we've only have master at the moment, so let's just check that. GitHub, Adventures, AsyncVoter, and we have, what do we have? We have branch. Yeah, we only have master and spike, so we start off with master. You may require more later on, and I will insert here, and we'll say this is. This includes spike and starts on start vote feature.
While Sam is doing that, I'll explain a couple of things. He's using oh my ZSH. He's not using bash. That's why it might feel strange.
I think it is bash, actually.
And hub is just a command wrapper for Git. That's why he's doing the nice funky things with hub pull request. Sorry, go on.
No, I think Michael uses ZSH. I think I am using bash in as much as, well, unless I'm, I do use bash RC. Maybe I'm using, well, how can I tell? Can I say which SH? Then I can tell. Can I tell if I'm using bash?
Oh, you're still using bash. I thought it's all my ZSH.
Yeah,
with the funky looking stuff.
Anyway, it's on OSX. But so we've got the pull request in. So now I've set up the thing on Travis. So we should now see here, Travis is going to be going to be going in, like, we'll see in the background. This is the kind of, like, we might be tempted, okay, well, let's charge on and do everything else. But like, I love small pull requests. I mean, in this case, we've actually got that all of that stuff. We may have to remove some of it. But we've also got, I've also set it up so that we can't merge into the master unless the CI passes. So that's an important thing to do. But so hacking around in this, what we've, especially about this starting a vote, how do we interpret the feature? The starting of the vote, we've got all the votes actually in the features here. So this is the start vote feature. It's sort of, the implication here is that we have story as a separate model. And I don't know that we need, well, I guess, right, it depends if the vote model, which I guess is yet to be filled out, if the vote is going to represent a vote by a single person. I guess there's, and this is like we've got this domain model issue here of, we talk about in terms of an async vote, which consists of, individual people voting. So I guess it makes sense to have kind of the idea of, this is the story, or it's the thing that gets voted on, and that captures, it's going to need to have a URL over, but ultimately it will capture the completed vote, and then this individual vote model is kind of the individual's vote. A bit of people follow what I'm saying there about how the vote can kind of, when I think about the English language representation, can mean both the entire process and also a single vote, can't it?
Yes. Tom.
I mean, this comes back to this issue of, well, domain-driven design, which Michael and I both, Michael recommended to me the domain-driven design book, which I read, and he probably regrets. But this idea of in terms of working on a project, you want to get the terminology that you're using kind of sorted out, and so that you're meaning the same things. Go on, Michael.
There are other words in the English language like ballot.
Yes. Indeed. I mean, I guess the path of least resistance is to follow what Joao has taken. I mean, in some ways, is one thing going to be just as good as another?
So to vote is I'm just looking up online. A vote is an act or instance of participating in a choice by submitting a ballot.
And we would say that the interesting, when I think of the word ballot, I think of that's like the piece of paper that you write on.
Cast a vote, or it's the process of voting, especially in secret, which kind of matches what we're doing here, a list of candidates.
So would we say that actually the ballot is the sort of collective term for what we would be doing? Like actually,
the total of all votes cast in an election is known as the ballot.
Okay, so actually, maybe rather than story here, I mean, there's potentially a separate. This could be called a ballot, and so effectively, what we're calling here start vote could be kind of we're actually trying to start a ballot, and then there will be individual votes on that.
And a ballot can also just in the United States be a list of the candidates running for office.
Right.